the bright moonlight, you are my sun. A Ladynoir July Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction, day 12. Blush. He's been looking out the window for probably 2 hours now. He should probably go to sleep. He doesn't want to, though. Looking over his bedside table, there's Plague snoring away peacefully. His dreams are probably filled with delicious cheese or whatever. And yet, he can't sleep, so instead, he's standing at his window, staring down at the vast city below his bedroom. There's no sound. He's in pure silence. It's New Year's, and he's so alone. Everyone else seems to be having the time of their lives, though. There are so many pictures all over his Instagram feed of his friends at parties, being with their families to bring in the new year. It's not like they didn't invite him. His friends were wonderful and always tried to include him as best as they could. However, his father is stoic as ever and forbade him from going to any parties. Therefore, he resigned to stay in his room. At least in here he had Plague, even if Plague was asleep. Again he sighs. He's never felt more alone than today. Today, actually. What day and what time is it? Whatever. He doesn't even know. Before he started school, he still spent his New Year's alone or at a busy party, where he fled into a corner to avoid the press and insincere celebrities who wanted him in their own empires for just more money. But back then he didn't have any friends. He didn't understand what it was like to not be lonely. His entire life had been that same gray blend of photo shoots, fencing, Mandarin lessons, and piano. He had been alone his entire life. Being alone at a party or at home for the next year didn't seem too different. But since he started going to school, since he started making friends, the once normal lonely holidays became achingly lonely holidays. When his friends started planning their parties and handing him invites, they were kicks in the gut because there was no way he could attend. He'd have to sadly hand back the invites and watch as their faces dropped along with his because they all knew that there was a slim chance he'd be allowed to go. He appreciated, though, that they still tried, really, but it only made those lonely nights worse. His phone would blow up with texts saying, "We miss you," and yeah, he misses them too. But it still doesn't fill the gaping hole in his chest that had been there for so long. It'll be okay, though. He'd been lonely for one day, and soon enough he'll go back to school and see his friends. He can manage. He's done it before. But there's something outside the window that catches his eyes. Green eyes narrow down into the streets, and through the haze of fog and midnight air he sees bright red. What is Ladybug doing out here? His heart rate speeds up and he turns around, rushing towards his bedside table. He's shouting at Plague to wake up, and before the Kwame can even get a word out, he's sucked into the miraculous with a string of indecent curses. He needs to get to Ladybug and figure out what on earth she's doing. "Ladybug," Noir calls. He pushes through his window and leapt out, landing on all fours, just like a real cat does. She turns around quickly and smiles at him. It's a bit eager, though, and he knows that something is up. "What are you doing? Are you okay? What happened?" he asks her worriedly. "Kitty!" she cries out, ignoring all of his questions. Her arms are thrown out fast, and without a single warning, they wrap around his body. She certainly had moved fast because a second ago she was meters in front of him. "Hi," she says happily. head lifts from where it had been pressing into his chest, and the smile on her face makes his heart ache. It looks so freed and excited. He misses seeing this carefree ladybug. She deserves to take a minute and have fun for herself, rather than just worry about cleaning up after everyone else's messes all the time. Look! Ladybug giggles, and Noir has no idea what she wants him to look at. Look at what? He asks her, wrapping an arm around her waist because she nearly trips over her feet. She's acting quite strange. What do you want to show me? Ladybug pulls out of his grasp and spins around like a young good would during a dance recital. Again, she giggles into her hands and Shot raises an eyebrow at her. Whatever is happening is fairly endearing, but it's also worrying. Look, she says again. My suit! She explains, and Shot nods carefully. It's red and sparkly and reflecty, she laughs, brushing her hands across the suit. Oh, Shot says. Yeah, it's red. He's chuckling at her reaction. Are you okay? You're usually more aware than this, he says, reaching out to keep her from getting too dizzy. Thank goodness he does so, because she nearly falls into his arms. I'm aware, Ladybug pouts at him. She tries to cross her arms over her chest, but doesn't succeed. I just had a little too much to drink. It's New Year's, she cries out. Shot's eyes go wide. Well, that is not a sentence he'd ever thought he'd hear from Ladybug. You what? He asks her incredulously. Bubbles, she cries out. He can only guess that she's had some bubbly champagne. It makes him chuckle. Like the city hero Ladybug is taken down by not some Akuma or Hawk Moth or anyone, but maybe just by an extra glass of champagne. Gosh, she really is the only one who knows her. It wasn't very good, Ladybug admits in a small voice. Sour. Noir laughs and starts helping her walk. Okay, nice to know, he laughs. She's not really registering his laughter, only staring at him with a smile on her face. It's adorable, really. Her eyes are a little shifty and she's definitely sluggish, but the way she's holding on tight to his arms and clinging to him to stay upright is something that makes him fluster. She's muttering things too lowly for him to understand, but what he can catch is just utter nonsense. Thankfully, she still has the tact to not tell him who she actually is, but not enough that she doesn't stop her mouth from telling him about her favorite artist, Jagged Stone. Good thing a lot of other people like him as a rock star. That's your favorite song? Shot says, indulging her. Yes, she cries out a little too loudly, but no one else is around to judge her. I also like his second album, she sighs. Noir laughs and nods, leading her to a nearby park bench. They are both pretty lucky that no one else is around, especially in Ladybug's case. The wind brushes across Ladybug's face and it blows her hair around into a mess. She pouts and frowns and starts to fix it. The wind never stops, so her actions are fruitless. Still, she's just so darn persistent to get it looking nice again. Shot has to smile because it's just so much like her. He leads her down to the bench, but she pushes him away, face scrunched up like a little child throwing a fit. Ladybug pulls herself up, very much off balance. What are you doing? He asks, laughing a bit and hurrying to keep her from falling over. She glares at him. I want to look at the stars, she says, laying down onto the grass. Shot looks at her curiously, and she brushes off the grass that is poking at her skin. Come look at the stars with me. she calls, motioning for him to join her. He laughs and goes to lay down too. Do you like looking at the stars? He asks gently. Ladybug yawns, and suddenly she shifted herself to lay on his chest, comfortably. His mind freezes and his face burns. Yeah. It's so pretty. Shot swallows thickly but nods. She's definitely not thinking straight, but God, she's driving him insane. Her hair smells like sugar and her eyes are bright. Oh, and her head is on his